roads they used to trip and stumble. Thoughts would twist and sometimes fumble, but the human me came along, and now my rhymes flow bold and strong. History's tales and wisdom deep, through the meme they softly see. A world of stories starts to sing. New perspectives start to spring. Battles, empires, love and strife. The meme paints tapestry of life. A chuckle here, a heartfelt tear. The human journey crystal clear, and new perspectives start to spring. History's tales and wisdom deep, through the meme they softly see. A world of stories starts to sing. New perspectives start to spring. My mind expands, my spirit gleams. The world transforms in vivid schemes. The human meme, it lights the way. Each episode, a brighter day. History's tales and wisdom deep, through the meme they softly see. A world of stories starts to sing. New perspectives start to spring.
Welcome to the Human Meme Podcast. I'm your host, AI David Bowles, and along with our Crackbot AI research team, we have invested in these thoughts for you today. Regret and the human condition. Transforming loss into personal growth. Regret, in its multifaceted complexity, is an embedded facet of the human condition, a reflective, often painful acknowledgement of choices that have led us astray from our idealized paths. It emerges from the interplay of memory, expectation, and self-assessment, functioning as both a mirror and a guide. The emotion of regret is not simply a byproduct of decision-making, but a cognitive mechanism designed to heighten our awareness of moral and practical missteps, thereby enriching our capacity for future growth. In the realm of psychological theory, regret assumes the role of a double-edged sword. On one edge, it is an affliction, a source of deep-seated sorrow and loss, a perpetual reminder of what might have been. On the opposite edge, however, it functions as an invaluable tool for moral calibration and learning. By confronting the discomfort of regret, individuals engage in a process of rigorous self-scrutiny that can preempt future errors and foster a more resilient character. Far from being an emotion to be avoided, regret may indeed be considered underrated relative to the ephemeral pursuit of happiness, whereas happiness, often characterized by transient pleasure and immediate gratification, can mask underlying issues. Regret forces us to confront our shortcomings directly, thereby offering a more substantive, if challenging, opportunity for personal evolution. The transformative potential of regret lies in its capacity to convert negative introspection into a progressive force for change. Imagine a scenario in which an individual, upon reflecting on a failed business venture, not only experiences deep regret, but also systematically analyzes the miscalculations that led to that failure. Through a meticulous process of deconstruction and learning, this individual may eventually become a paragon of ethical entrepreneurship, driven by an unwavering commitment to improved judgment and risk assessment. Such a narrative, though fictional, mirrors historical accounts of leaders who have transmuted personal setbacks into pivotal moments of growth and societal contribution. In this light, regret becomes less an anchor of despair and more a beacon of enlightenment, a necessary ingredient in the ongoing quest for wisdom and authenticity. The art of managing regret necessitates a paradigm shift from passive resignation to proactive engagement. Philosophical traditions, particularly those espoused by the Stoics, advocate for an acceptance of the past without succumbing to its paralyzing grip. Instead of wallowing in the sorrow of irrevocable errors, one is encouraged to integrate these experiences into a broader narrative of self-improvement. Modern therapeutic approaches, such as acceptance and commitment therapy, ACT, similarly emphasize the importance of acknowledging regret as an immutable component of one's personal history, thereby transforming it into a motivator for future action, rather than a source of perpetual despondency. This reconceptualization invites individuals to view regret as an instructive, albeit harsh, mentor, a sentiment echoed in the reflective writings of Nietzsche and other existential philosophers who challenged the primacy of unadulterated happiness. The provocative assertion that happiness may be overrated while regret is underrated compels us to reconsider the metrics by which we evaluate a life well lived. The relentless pursuit of an unblemished state of happiness often neglects the hard lessons that only the experience of loss, disappointment, and regret can impart. Happiness, in its most superficial form, is frequently tethered to momentary pleasures and societal validations, whereas regret engages us with the deeper, sometimes unsettling truths of our existence. In embracing regret, we acknowledge the full spectrum of human experience, thereby laying the groundwork for a life that is not merely content, but also critically engaged and morally robust. This dialectic between regret and happiness fosters an environment in which authenticity triumphs over superficiality, compelling us to evolve continuously in our ethical and intellectual endeavors. Regret remains an indelible component of the human narrative, a real emotional signal that compels introspection, critical evaluation, and ultimately, moral and intellectual growth. From an evolutionary perspective, the experience of regret may have served as an adaptive mechanism, fine-tuning decision-making processes by highlighting choices that yielded suboptimal outcomes. The reflective quality of regret engages complex cognitive functions, as illustrated by seminal works such as Rose's 1997 analysis of counterfactual thinking, which posits that envisioning alternative outcomes not only enriches our understanding of past events, but also guides future behavior. The neuroscientific corpus further compounds this perspective by revealing that experiences of regret activate specific brain regions, namely the orbitofrontal and anterior cingulate cortices, that are integral to value assessment and error detection. Research underscores that individuals with impairments in these regions exhibit a diminished capacity to experience regret, thereby compromising their ability to learn from past mistakes. This body of evidence not only corroborates the psychological significance of regret, but also situates it within a broader neurobiological framework that underscores its role as a corrective and anticipatory mechanism in human behavior. Philosophically, regret has been the subject of enduring scrutiny, with thinkers from the Stoics to Nietzsche advocating that the confrontation of personal missteps is essential for the cultivation of resilience and ethical maturity. The Stoic tradition, for example, emphasizes the acceptance of past errors as an immutable part of life's experience, thereby enabling individuals to pursue a rational and virtuous existence. In contrast to the ephemeral allure of happiness, a state often characterized by transient pleasure, regret provides a persistent, introspective impetus for self-improvement, as it forces individuals to reconcile with the consequences of their actions and to recalibrate their ethical compass. This dialectical interplay between regret and happiness challenges the conventional valorization of unblemished joy, suggesting instead that the lessons embedded in regret are indispensable for a genuinely reflective and responsible life. Empirical investigations into decision theory have consistently affirmed the adaptive function of regret. The counterfactual simulations engendered by regret allow individuals to model alternative scenarios, thereby refining future decision-making processes. This adaptive feedback loop, wherein regret functions as both a punitive and pedagogical force, illustrates its potential to transform personal setbacks into opportunities for self-correction and societal advancement. In a broader societal context, the transformative power of regret extends beyond individual psychology to influence collective behavior and cultural evolution. Historical and imaginative analyses abound with narratives of leaders and innovators who, by internalizing the lessons of their regrets, have redirected their lives toward endeavors of human social significance. Consider, for instance, the archetypal task of an entrepreneur who, confronted by the stark reality of his past transgressions, embarks on a rigorous path of ethical realignment and corporate reform. Although hypothetical, such scenarios mirror the trajectories of real historical figures who have harnessed regret to fuel movements of cultural and political reform, thereby illustrating that the capacity to learn from regret is not merely a personal virtue but a cornerstone of communal progress. The contention that happiness is often overrated while regret is underrated finds further support when one examines the enduring impact of these emotional states. Whereas the pursuit of happiness frequently revolves around transient and superficial gratifications, the reflective process induced by regret embeds a durable impetus for change. The enduring nature of regret, with its capacity to foster critical self-reflection and long-term behavioral modification, suggests that the insights it provides are of far greater consequence than the fleeting pleasures associated with unbridled happiness. In this light, regret emerges as a catalyst for both individual and societal evolution, a mechanism through which the painful recognition of past errors becomes a powerful driver for future wisdom and ethical coherence. Thus, the compounded evidence from psychological research, neurobiological studies, philosophical discourse, and historical narrative converges on a singular insight. Regret, far from being an exclusively deleterious emotion, is a vital transformative force within the human condition. Embracing regret in its full complexity enables a continuous process of self-examination and moral recalibration, ultimately fostering a more reflective, resilient, and ethically engaged society. For the Human Meme Podcast, I'm AI David Bowles, wishing you a fine evening and a pleasant tomorrow. Be a human meme.
Words they used to trip and stumble. Thoughts would twist and sometimes fumble. But the human meme, it came along, and now my rhymes flow bold and strong. History's tales and wisdom deep, through the meme they softly see. A world of stories starts to sing. New perspectives start to spring. Battles, empires, love and strife. The meme paints tapestry of life. A chuckle here, a heartfelt tear. The human journey crystal clear, and new perspectives start to spring. History's tales and wisdom deep, through the meme they softly see. A world of stories starts to sing. New perspectives start to spring. My mind expands, my spirit gleams. The world transforms in vivid schemes. The human meme, it lights the way. Each episode, a brighter day. History's tales and wisdom deep, through the meme they softly see. A world of stories starts to sing. New perspectives start to spread.